Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka FPL Drug.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Good, thanks. Glad we got through in the FA Cup.
Oh, I know. Hey, we'll come on to that, but cracking win against Bournemouth. You know, the fake derby that everybody bangs on about, but easy win at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, all too easy against them lately.
It was nice to be able to watch us outside of the Premier League as well. Obviously, a very big blank game week, only 4 games. So should we get straight into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First things first, the Friday night game. It was Fulham 1, Leeds 2.
Went pretty well for the both of us. Really, we took quite a punt on Rafinha.
You did indeed.
Obviously, the obvious pick would have been Kane, which the majority of the community went for. I think we slightly benefited. We gained about 3 points.
2 points, I think.
2 points, yeah. He's looked dangerous every game, even in the games. I think he blanked 3 games prior to the game we've punted on. But he's looked dangerous. Like, if you're watching the games, like, he is capable of big returns. Like, the amount of perfect balls he throws into the box, like, for a better team, he'd be on an insane amount of assists.
Oh yeah, his set piece play is unbelievable. Like, it's probably, I mean, it's bold to say, but it's probably up there with Prowse in terms of putting it on a plate for someone to finish.
Yeah, very much so. Like, I've been very impressed with him. I wasn't convinced at first, but
I know you weren't.
You showed me the way.
I remember you texting me saying, you've jumped on that train. It's going to derail, blah, blah, blah. Here you are, 5-6 game weeks later, and you're all aboard the Rafinha bus, I tell you.
Yeah, I can admit I was wrong.
I was a little bit annoyed with myself, to be fair, because obviously I brought in Bamford this week. And I think on Thursday, I had the captaincy on Bamford. And it was a niggle in my head about this injury that he obviously picked up, the dead leg. I didn't want that to, have any influence on his play. And obviously he did go off early, I think, in this game. Well, not early, but he was substituted. And I moved it to Rafinha. And obviously, hindsight, not the right decision, but I was very glad to see Rafinha get the goal, particularly, after Bamford had scored earlier, and Bamford got the assist for Rafinha, which gave us some extra points. So.
Yeah, definitely. I had the kind of same thought process, really. It's just like the injury kind of put me off. I was like, yeah, he should start, but he might even go off. So then it just felt safer to captain Rafinha, didn't it?
And then, surprise, surprise, the other pick that I was talking about quite a while ago, and I wrote about him in my Jumpers for Goalposts article, and I remember you saying, not really the pick that I'd go for the blank, but, go for it. And Anderson steps up with a goal for Fulham.
Yeah, take your own advice.
I fucking should.
Yeah, great. I just tapped it in with his feet, I think. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Finish.
I mean, yeah, shame he didn't do it.
No, tell me about it. And Lookman looked pretty sharp as well. Obviously got the assist for Anderson, but it was overall pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think as we'll talk about as we're going through these games, the sort of people you'd have punted on a free hit did tend to return this week. The likes of Lookman, Rafinha, Bamford, those would be in your free hit. And as we'll talk about the other games as well with the sort of free hitters that have done well this week.
Yeah, for sure. I still personally think Fulham will stay up with the run of games that obviously they've got coming up. That there's points in there. And obviously we'll come on to it, but how poor Newcastle looked, I think Fulham have got every chance.
I was going to say I feel much more confident in Fulham getting results than I do Newcastle at the moment. Yeah, but yeah, sure. Speak of the Devils, Brighton 3, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, a result that, to be fair, I very much predicted in my head that Brighton would keep a clean sheet in this one. I've been, as you know, debating with myself all week about moving to Lewis Duncan Sky because I moved off of him weeks ago. Had I done that, I would have had a 20-point captaincy, but I chose not to. Obviously, time will tell whether that was the right decision. I've decided to save the true transfers of bringing them in and then taking them out for the 20 points. And I can only hope that the two players I do bring in with those two transfers better that plus Dunk's points over the course of the rest of the season. So we'll see. But yeah, it did mean that I took a hit in my rank, which was unfortunate. But Brighton were absolutely dominant in this game.
Yeah, very much so. I think your move, it's very much a long-term thing. So it's hard to say whether those transfers that you've got now in the bank are going to pay off until you've made them. But yeah, good luck, mate.
Fingers crossed.
Well, you're flying high, so hopefully you can gain some ground with those transfers on those above you with less in the bank.
Yeah, we'll see. But on Brighton, obviously, as you said, a lot of free hitters would have attacked this game in particular, given how poor Newcastle have been. So Callum Wilson wasn't fit enough to even make the squad for this game. So as soon as you saw that lineup and that setup, I think Brighton were always set to dominate. And Trossard was exceptional. I thought he played really, really well. And obviously, Mopé and Welbeck both got their goals. Veltman even popped up with an assist, and I know quite a few people jumped on him in a free hit. So they've got the clean sheet, the assist, and a bonus point there. So if you were on, say, Trossard, Veltman, and Dunk, I think you've done pretty damn well in this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think Trossard and Veltman were the ones I saw that were popular with free hitters. I myself thought of bringing in Trossard. I didn't go through with it. I thought I'll bring in Bale to fund Harry Kane up top. Hindsight, just doing Trossard and Antonio would have been a great move, but I was blocked. To be honest, Harry Kane could still pay off next week for me against Newcastle. So I was too scared to not have him against Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what Brighton did against Newcastle, and in a couple of weeks' time, Wilson might be fit, but I still don't think that changes Newcastle's mentality, and they just look done at the moment. They were so poor, and obviously when Brighton were then on top, Newcastle just went into shutdown. They rarely attacked. There was one moment they hit the post, which I think was quite unfortunate. That was at 1-0, I believe, for Brighton. Had that gone in, maybe something slightly different. I think it was Fraser that hit the post. I was obviously disappointed given Dunk kept his clean sheet. But from that point, obviously Brighton then stepped it up and Newcastle didn't have anything to respond to. So I am very worried for Newcastle.
Yeah, as am mine. I think the fans are very concerned. I've seen pictures of like banners outside the ground saying like Bruce out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously the thing is, we know Bruce has said he's not going to walk. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of pans out.
I also think it's too late. I really think it's too late. Obviously, Newcastle did this quite some time ago.
I wouldn't say it's too late. I'd say, they're still out of the relegation zone. I think somebody could come in if they were to fire him, which they probably almost certainly won't. I think they can do something, but it's tricky with the mentality they've got at the moment and the resource. Obviously, Callum Wilson will be coming back, and that might give them a glimmer of hope.
Potentially, but I mean, what does Newcastle's fixtures look like? They're looking at. Let's have a quick check. Newcastle's upcoming fixtures, blimey. Tottenham, Burnley, West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, Man City. And then obviously they finished with Sheffield United and Fulham. So they could be two massive games. But looking at that run, honestly, even Burnley in there, I don't see any points in the next 7 games for Newcastle. And that's a huge worry.
Yeah, it's horrific from game week 30 right through to including 36. It's not pretty.
No, not at all.
But these are the times where the teams are down the bottom tend to pick up form a little bit towards. They sense they need to survive. They're going to go down if they don't. They can pull out a shock result, but it doesn't feel like it at the moment, does it?
No, not at all. Right, let's move on to an absolute cracker on Sunday. It was West Ham 3, Arsenal 3.
Wow, I was sat there in amazement with West Ham's performance in the first half. I thought, wow, they've nearly got this wrapped up. I mean, it was three goals in front, cruising. Fantastic goal from Lingard as well, I have to say. I mean,
stunning.
I bet you were happy you obviously brought him in for this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was buzzing, obviously, to see him get a goal and an assist. It was basically the perfect transfer, wasn't it?
It was. I think we've seen both sides of West Ham in one game here.
Yeah.
The more recent West Ham, where they've been on good form, they've been playing well, and then the sort of typical West Ham that sort of fall apart a little bit. But fair play to Arsenal and Lacazette. Lacazette played very well, and it was interesting to see him sort of linking up with Aubameyang on the pitch as well. So I think that maybe they'll work together well in the coming days.
Yeah, I think with Aubameyang, it's a tricky one because obviously he got taken off in the game eventually. I thought he was poor personally. I'm not impressed with him being out wide, but I think Lacazette works harder through the middle. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised moving forward if Arsenal focus on Europa League. I would not be surprised to see Aubameyang miss out on the Prem occasionally. Have Lacazette through the middle, and then the likes of Pepe, Odegaard, Saka, Smith Rowe, all in behind. It makes sense. And even in this game when the likes of Pepe made an appearance, Pepe played really, really well when he came on. And obviously I thought Saka played well when he was on the pitch. He had a great chance, kind of took it early, which probably shouldn't have. Odegaard was exceptional. I think people have been questioning why Odegaard came in, and is it to the detriment of Smith Rowe? And yeah, in some cases it is, but for me, Odegaard is a class above Smith Rowe, and it really tells when he's on the pitch. He's really growing into this Arsenal shirt.
I was impressed with him too, I have to say. And yeah, I think based on this season, you would prefer to have sort of Pepe over Aubameyang on that wing.
Yeah. Weird.
Which is, yeah, if you said this last season, you get laughed out of town because obviously Aubameyang was up there with the top goal scorers, and Pepe was nowhere to be seen. Right. But yeah, Pep, just based on the past few performances, yeah, you'd give Pepe the shot, especially seen as Aubameyang's attitude.
Yeah.
But we all know what Aubameyang is capable of. If he's right mentally and happy, then he can get you 20 goals a season. So it's a tricky one for Arteta.
Yeah, it's just been such a strange season for Aubameyang. Like at the start of the season, which seems so long ago now, we were all raving about the fact that Aubameyang was now classified as a midfielder, and everyone was throwing him into the team. I think I had him for the first 3-4 game weeks, and then obviously we got a couple of goals out of him, and then that was it. And then we slowly started to realize, well, he's not worth the money, and not many people have gone back there. Whereas obviously Lacazette continues to pop up with the odd goal. And I think the amusing thing for this fixture is obviously it shows is 3-3, but Arsenal only scored one goal because both Souček and Dawson have gone down as own goals, and you don't often see that, do you?
No, you don't. Obviously, a Dawson owner myself. Painful to see that one happen. I mean, I'm benching him next week, so I'll look forward to him scoring in the right end.
Absolutely.
On my bench. That'll be typical FPL. But yeah, no, I think at the start of the season, as you say, there were two key kind of players that we were sort of getting really excited about. It was Aubameyang's reclassification, and it was that Trent wasn't as expensive as we thought he was going to be. We were like, 7.5, that's a bargain. I'd have paid 9 million for him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
look at it now.
Just shows how much things can change season to season. I mean,
massively.
Trent's nowhere near performing like he was last season. I don't think he deserves to be dropped from the England squad though. I think that's quite a bold call from Southgate.
It is, but there are better players in his position at the moment that have performed well this season. And to be fair, it might give him the kick up the backside that he needs to improve his performances in the run-in. And Liverpool have a very favourable run-in till the end of the season. So he's got every chance to get himself on that plane for the Euros, but he's going to have to step it up over the last 8-9 games.
Yeah, I agree with that. His form has certainly dipped, and there are I'd say at least one better right back than him. But I think he deserves a place in the squad. To be left out of the squad entirely, I think it's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it just shows how things can change.
Oh, for sure. And then obviously, I think the two primary assets for West Ham, Lingard and Antonio, I think their ownership is only going to continue to rise. They've been exceptional when they're on the pitch together.
Yeah, they really have, and I feel confident, even despite their relatively tough run coming up. I feel confident in returns for them. Lingard has scored or assisted in nearly every game that he's played, which is really impressive because he's played a good 6 or 7 games. And Antonio, we know what he can do.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the last game of the game week then, and it was a surprising Spurs lineup. You know, we obviously saw Vinicius start, Rodon get a start, and ended up paying off. It was Aston Villa 0, Spurs 2.
Yeah, a good win for Spurs. Obviously, Mourinho under a lot of pressure due to sort of the recent poor performances from Spurs. And this lineup did surprise me a little bit because I thought with Son out, he'd definitely play Bale, having Bale played only 60 minutes in the midweek game, because obviously a lot of players played the full 120.
Kane played the full 120.
Yeah, Kane. I mean, I did sort of think Kane would start, obviously, but yeah, Bale I thought would start as well in the absence of Son. But they've given Vinicius a go up top with Kane, and it worked, I'd say. Fair play to Mourinho. A lot of this coverage on this game was just showing Jack Grealish sat in his tracksuit.
I know. It honestly wasn't a great game, and Spurs were so sluggish for the first 20, 25 minutes that you really worried. But Aston Villa were just poor going forward. They failed to create many chances at all, to be honest. And it was a really nice Spurs move from a poor Martinez clearance that led to Vinicius's goal. And then it was a pretty poor tackle from Matty Cash on Harry Kane in the penalty box. I mean, Kane's touch was awful. It's going out of play. Matty Cash doesn't need to make the slide tackle, and he does, and he takes Kane out before the ball goes out of play. So Spurs get the penalty, 2-0, game over.
Yeah, very much so. Definite pen. No, that's not up for debate, I don't think.
Not at all.
But yeah, I think Villa do look toothless without Jack Grealish. It's amazing how much impact he has on the team.
I know. Massive.
Yeah, that first half was a bit drab. Tottenham were just sort of going through the motions. They weren't really. It didn't look like they were trying to take the game to Villa. They were just kind of going, okay, we're still in the game. We're still in the game. Just keep passing. But yeah, no. Eventually, they sort of kicked into gear, which was good for them to see. But what do you make of Rodon?
I think he's a really good player. Every time I've seen him, he impresses. I still think he's a rotation risk for FPL. I wouldn't go near him, but it's good to see him getting the opportunities. And in all honesty, like hopefully, say come next season, he should cement his spot in the starting lineup. I'm impressed as a neutral with his performances for Tottenham.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one for perhaps next season to see if he sort of becomes more, not nailed, but at least features more often. In the game, yeah, he's 5 million and owned by literally no one, 0.0% ownership. But no, it's good to see from just a non-FPL view, if we take the FPL goggles off, him bringing young talent through. Because it's going to be tough for them to break into that side. You've got some good defenders in that side team. You've got like Reguilon, you got Toby, you got a lot of decent defenders in there. So fair play to him to sort of follow in the path of, say, Harry Winks, that kind of.
Yeah, well, like I think it was Rodon and Tanganga. Obviously, both got starts and both impressed. That I think they're both composed, good individual players. You know, just like you say, it's difficult to get into that squad sometimes, but it'd be good to see. Where just quickly looking at Aston Villa's fixtures, obviously we were massively praising Aston Villa before Grealish's injury. We were all talking, can they make Champions League? If they can't, they'll definitely get Europa League. looking at these fixtures, honestly, I think they'll just fall away. They've got Liverpool, United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Everton, City, all still to play. In the way in which they've been performing recently, yeah, they've been missing Grealish, but surely that one player won't make the biggest of differences in these games. We know how good Grealish can be, but we know how poor Aston Villa have been. Perhaps he might be that creative influence that gets them the points they need, but I'm still very tempted to now get rid of the likes of Watkins and just move on to, bigger and better players. And I may well, after the Fulham game, move Watkins on to Iheanacho, and we'll obviously come on to that, but very tempting.
Fuck's sake. I was hoping you'd keep Watkins. I'm very much looking forward to getting rid of Watkins myself. I'll be likely to wildcard in game week 31. It's a good time if you've still got your wildcard to attack those fixtures. It's a good swing from sort of Leeds have their good fixture and game week 30 against Sheffield United. So you can have those free for that game that you've got from 29 and then make the changes in 31.
The likes of Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool all
Wolves
have
have a good
runs.
run as well.
They do.
Yeah, lots to target.
Very tasty. All right. How did you get on in FPL this week then, mate?
Yeah, so FPL, 56 points. I took a -4. That was for Bale and Kane, taking out Salah and DCL. So gained some appearance points there. Not from Bale, of course, but Kane got a goal. It's something. The majority of my points were from sort of Rafinha, Lingard, and Bamford. Glad I captained Rafinha, 8 double to 16. Obviously, a bit disappointing to have a -1 from Dawson and for Son to not feature. I mean, I expected Son to not feature, but did not expect an own goal. And that saw me rise up 59,000 to 410k.
Nice, not bad at all. I got 51 points, -4. I think I only had 8 players. Yeah, 8 players playing. And obviously Matty targets 0. Really helped. But yeah, I think the big boys were Lingard, Bamford, Rafinha, and Kane. They were only the only 4 returners, but fortunately the returns were big enough to get me a decent total, and it was very much a grey arrow. I think I dropped from 87.5 to 88.4. So it's about it's about 900 places. I mean, in the grand scheme of 7.5 million players, I'd take that as a grey. But yeah, it is a slight red arrow of less than 1,000 places. So I'll take that, given I had 8 players plus 1 that got me 0. So I can't really complain. Should we quickly touch on the FA Cup before we move on then? Obviously, Saints' big win. Brilliant performance, in fairness. I thought, dominated from start to finish. Not a tidy 3-0 win into the semi-final. And obviously we now know that we will play Leicester, who beat Man United 3-1. So the other results being Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-0 and Man City beat Everton 2-0. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, very, very good performance from us. And yeah, Leicester or Man United. I think I'd rather face Leicester. I mean, Leicester have been in form. But I mean, as we know, we got beat 9-0 by both these teams. But I think I'm just glad we didn't get City, to be honest.
Tell me about it.
That was the one. I was like, anyone but City. I think, we stand a chance to get through to that final. And be it Man City or Chelsea, it'd be amazing for us to get to that final. And
I mean, there's every chance. Leicester, they're going to be a tough opponent. I think out of the 4 teams left, we're probably the underdogs, rightly so. But it's just worrying that Leicester have suddenly picked up this form before we then go on to play them. And they've looked brilliant in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
It is, but I think Leicester tend to do better as an underdog. Whereas they won't be the underdog. People will expect them to go through and play City or Chelsea in the final. And I'd have fancied them more against, say, Chelsea than I would us.
No, that's true. That's a fair
Which
point. But
seems strange to say, but yeah, I think we ain't got anything to lose. I think it'd mean a lot to Ralph after the sort of season he's had to sort of get almost like revenge on Leicester and get us through into the final. I think that would sort of bring him some closure, if you like, on that 9-0.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But well, of course, 9-0 has been mentioned again. Just goes on and on and on. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Getting to the final and then fans might even be allowed there. So who knows? Like, could be sat there watching Saints at Wembley. We'll see. Got to live to dream sometimes, during this pandemic. All right. Well, let's jump on to the Sky game, and obviously, what was a very quiet week for Sky. For me personally, not having any coverage in that Brighton fixture cost. I ended up on a huge total of 38 points in my my main team. Dropped down to 50th overall, which, in fairness, is still recoverable. Honestly, I think the top 5 places is probably out of sight now. I'm a good 80 odd points behind. I think the money, yeah, that's probably gone. That PlayStation 5, probably gone. But I'm going to try. I'm still going to try. I think I've got a reasonable amount of transfers left. So I'm going to look to it. But fingers crossed we get the fixtures resolved over this international break. And then we get the full April list at least. Because then that'll obviously provide ample opportunity to then properly plan. Whereas in my third team, I kind of attacked it a little bit more. So I ended up on 57 points, which wasn't too bad. Loads of transfers left in that. I think I've still got 20 transfers left. But I think I'm going to try and attack April and then see how well I can do in terms of the monthly rankings for that one.
Yeah, why not? Makes sense to do so. Myself, my third team, decent score, 68 points. I've got a hell of a lot of money in the bank, 7.6 million.
Nice.
Mainly due to me just targeting players that I fancy in fixtures. Antonio, Højbjerg, Rafinha getting some decent points for me in that team. Bamford,
right.
I think I had for a captaincy maybe. I think in this team, very happy with that. Team 2 is up to 2.4k. It got 65 points, mainly thanks to Lewis Dunk, Antonio, and Rafinha. And Team 1 got 44 points, so quite a bit less. But I still think it's gone up a little bit to 5.9k, thanks to Dunk again, Rafinha. Gareth Bale. Oh my life! I've just remembered I had a Gareth Bale captaincy, which obviously went to complete waste. Oh dear, that's why that team's on 44 and not 60 something.
Yeah.
Oh dear, forgot about that one. Terrible to realise that on the pod.
oh mate, about that stings. But it just shows like Sky was completely out of my mind, today and yesterday, because there's no point in thinking about it really until we get these fixtures, in my opinion, and then sit down and properly plan.
Yeah, I think you can really make some ground on those above you with the transfers. Obviously, you're at the mercy of that information. Until that information is provided, you can't really plan, attack, because it makes sense to wait, because you might get a couple of single game days for, say, Everton, whoever, and then you'll want to target Richarlison.
Exactly. The only player that I've got on my transfer list at the moment is Patricio, obviously to cover off the Wolves single game day that we know. I think I probably, having watched Villa, I will make that move from Martinez to Patricio. I think that's likely going to be quite common across the game for those that are still active and still playing and aiming to push up the leaderboard. Other than that, Chelsea probably targetable, just in terms of the defensive assets. But yeah, it'll be about finding the right player at the right time to try and make that ground. So I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure.
Oh, good stuff. Shall we talk about ChampMan?
Go on then. And what was an interesting lineup to start with for Leeds? Obviously, saw both Viduka and Hart missing out.
Yeah, very painful for me owning both of them. It's not something I really foresaw. It resulted in me in having 10 men because I also have Issa, who still suspended, I think.
Yeah, he was suspended for that game.
Yeah, so down to 10 men, and that saw me on 53 points. Bit of a poor week for me. Only really having sort of De Boer, Neville, Jaskalainen, and Zepeda sort of returning for me. The rest of my team was quite painful. It's like Delaney on 1 point, Tome on 1 point, Boxic on 2, Chadwick on 3, Perez on 3. Yeah, bit disappointing because I was looking forward to having Viduka for that tie against Man City, but obviously they're a low rep team, and that's potentially where this rotation has come in.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, I didn't have the best of weeks, and it was down to the fact that obviously a lot of us went Van Nistelrooy captain with the expectation that Man United were going to dominate, play well. Van Nistelrooy didn't get on the score sheet. Yeah, he was fortunate to get 2 bonus points. Obviously, that captaincy gets me 8 points. I've got the likes of Janssen, De Boer, Sylvester, obviously all got good points. And then Muzzy Is It effectively saved my game week. Massive 15 points from him. Not many people own him now, obviously after his injury, and I've held him throughout. So I was glad to see that. But I got 61. It was a small red arrow. I think back down to 107th, which is frustrating because I'm kind of to and from the top 100, which a little bit annoying. But obviously Viduka missed out, which meant Alex Anderson came in for a massive 2 points. And I was just glad that I chose the right goalkeeper again. Obviously, Jaskalainen got 9 points compared to Sullivan's 3. So I can't really complain. Whereas obviously looking ahead to this week, it's going to be an interesting one because we're now in the Christmas period for ChampMan, aren't we? And we've had this really interesting leak from Luke Disable, which is something a bit different. And in fact, I know it's probably split people's opinion, but I really like it. I like the fact that we're not getting a set team or a set name. I like that there's a little bit of guesswork in it. And obviously for those that are in the Discord, there's been so much chat about it. But it shows as obviously green being teams as expected. So that's, Bolton, Middlesbrough, Tottenham, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, Everton, Ipswich, Man City, Millwall. We can expect to be standard teams there. Blue is minor rotation. Could be as usual for certain teams. Someone might miss out. But that's your Arsenal, Villa, Derby, Leeds, Liverpool, and Watford. Could be an interesting one. I guess it just depends on what you see as minor rotation. I wouldn't expect, the likes of Viduka and stuff to miss out again, for instance. But it might be the odd rotatable midfielder. Who knows? Orange is what's got me worried big time because it's large rotation and/or a big name or two could miss out, and that's Blackburn, Leicester, and Sunderland. I own 4. I've got Sullivan, Tome, De Boer, and Janssen. I am so worried about Matt Janssen.
Yeah, I'm very much concerned too. I think I would be in your position owning Janssen and De Boer. I mean, I just own De Boer, and that's seeing that orange is enough to make me worry. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I think I like to be spoon fed. I mean, I quite like I like seeing the teams. I'm like, yeah, he's playing. It gives you that bit of certainty. But I guess it's gonna be interesting to see what moves people make because other than say Charlton with the sort of major rotation, it's a bit left open to interpretation as to who may miss out.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that red with mass rotation. What the fuck are Charlton doing? They got 5 points this season.
Yeah.
And then, they're mass rotating against them, effectively rep 12ing against Newcastle, who are playing basically a full strength team, except for Shearer, who's obviously out.
Would it then make sense to potentially target, say, the likes of Carl Court or even the lesser spotted Stephen Hughes?
Yeah, quite. I expect people to potentially make that kind of move. Obviously, if Shearer was there, he'd be massively owned this week. It's maybe a gamble to move on to the likes of Carl Court, but could play really well. I was planning on moving to back to Phillips this week, and obviously with that orange for Sunderland, surely it would have been a red if Phillips missed out. But at the same time, I just don't know. And then obviously with Blackburn being orange as well, does Janssen play? Doesn't he play? I'm really tempted to just make one move, and that's get rid of Lauren because I've had enough. He's fucking useless, disappears most of the time, just fed up of him. So I've barely thought about this in all honesty. I've been so busy at work this week, but I've caught up on the CM stream briefly. And I actually think I might just go for Doherty. Um, I'm very tempted just to go Lauren to Doherty and to go from there because it is what it is. You know, Leicester seem like they're rotating quite heavily in this as well, and it might see him go up top. So I know a lot of people have been jumping on him, and I'm fed up of seeing on the stream of him getting a goal and not owning him. So yeah, I might go that way.
You're not concerned about him being away from home, or?
I am, and I'm not. Like, I was potentially targeting Chelsea as well, and I might still go there, but I might hold off of Chelsea until next week and just have a bit of fun this week and go Doherty. It's one of those. He's a 4.5 that occasionally plays up top. It'll give me a little bit of money and a bit of flexibility next week, but I'll have a think about it.
Yeah, if a 4.5 goes wrong, he can just sit on your bench. It's not the end of the world. It's not a Viduka going missing.
No, I'm fully expecting benches to be needed this week, in all honesty, because yeah, just some of those oranges really worry me. And obviously the community team, we've made the move. We've gone John Terry out, Gardner in because of Terry's injury. But that community team has Jason Yule and Brian Hughes. So given Charlton a full, like, effectively rep 12ing in this, I think Yule and Hughes might miss out. So the community team are definitely going to need their bench this week.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds it.
Yeah, and obviously we lost annoyingly against Team fucking Skynet last week by 10 points, all down to their Veron captaincy, in fairness. So fingers crossed we can pull it back.
I hope so.
Yeah, right. We've got some interesting questions that I got through earlier. So I put the call out and I thought, you know what, let's go for something a little bit different this week. So I asked for both football questions and, you know, questions that potentially aren't football related. So we've got a few. Let's start with FPL Panda. I don't even know if I should ask this, given he's running the team Skynet. But who do you think will win the Golden Boot at this year's Euros?
Fucking ask a good question.
Very.
Wow, that is tough. I mean, I doubt it, but it could be Harry Kane.
I think he's the favourite at the moment. Having looked at the odds before this, yeah, it could be. I was tempted to potentially go like Lewandowski or whatnot, but given they're in Group F, and Group F is horrendous, not sure I'd want to go that way. But it's tricky. I might punt on Lukaku. I think Belgium could have a really good tournament. So obviously, aside from Harry Kane, who's the obvious favourite, Lukaku could be a good outsider, I think.
Yeah, it's a fair shot. He's been playing well in Italy, I've seen.
Yeah, he has. Right. Question in from the legend that is Craig Kemp. So Champman related. Now our second wildcards are available. Have you got any idea when you plan to use yours? And which player that you currently don't own is very likely to make your wildcard team?
I think I'll be playing it a bit further into the season. I think I'm relatively happy with my team shape as it is at the moment. However, I'd like to somehow perhaps get Veron in there, whether that's at the expense of, say, a Viduka or someone else like that. I think that might be nice because he seems to be the one sort of premium midfielder really that's out there and does perform.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'm tempted to save it for like a week before one of these big doubles because I've still got my bench boost, I've still got a free hit, I've still got my triple captain. ideally, as and when perhaps later in the season, if we get one of these big doubles they're announced, then I might move my wildcard then. If not, I'll be looking for, fixture swings like we did in, I think it was game week 5. I played my wildcard. There was good fixture swings for a lot of teams there, and it paid off. I think I flew up the ranks. I was like limbering down to like 300-400th. Managed to get back towards the 100th places. But yeah, probably that. And yeah, Veron would be very much on my radar. Potentially Chelsea defenders as well. I'm really intrigued by Chelsea defensively. And I've not owned a Chelsea defender in my team this season, so I might go to potentially, if John Terry was fit, maybe go there. If not, like the likes of Babayaro might be a good shout. But yeah, it'd be good to see. Heskabo. Here we go. So another Champman question. What do you make of this week's Champman FPL leak, especially when it comes to Blackburn and Sunderland assets? I guess we've already kind of talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's an interesting leak. We've not been spoon-fed. I think, it just requires a bit of thought. It is down to interpretation, though, I think, with like, do you see the orange as 2 to 3 changes, or do you see it as 5 to 6? Like,
yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Really tricky. But I'm looking forward to the madness that will be the team sheets tomorrow evening, no doubt.
Oh, chaos! It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, right. Questioning from Pep Talk. So, what do we think about Alonso as an FPL option for the run-in? Genuine contender or just a nostalgia pick? Is he nailed on at wing back, or is he still a rotation risk with Chilwell? Probably be picked for the easier fixtures when more hurls might occur. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's sort of semi at risk of rotation, which does sort of put you off. However, if you were going to do it, the best time to do it would be now, because they've obviously got West Brom next. And if he was going to play, then you're on that bus. You've got that whole potential assist, clean sheet, free bonus. So what I'd do if I was really wanted him was get him in now. If he doesn't play the next game, then look at taking him back out and realize it's a mistake, basically. Which sounds a bit silly to say, which is why in my head I'm not going to do that, because I just think it's not worth the risk. I think I'd much rather have Rudiger at 4.5, who I know is going to play, or say Azpilicueta, who I know who's going to play, than say a fullback that could have one amazing game, but what if he doesn't play the next 2? Like, it's tricky.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you want to have a bit of fun and you're chasing, then I think Alonso could be a great pick. But for me, nah, I wouldn't go there. I think far too much of a rotation risk, and I'd probably go with the 2 names that you've suggested there in terms of Chelsea assets, just to attack those great fixtures. I think they'll probably keep clean sheet after clean sheet. And then final 2 questions come in from the man that is Steve Bird, although still not 100% friends with this guy, given he's moved to Team Skynet, but we'll forgive him, seeing as he's such a legend. First question. If you had to be a guest character in any TV show, which show would it be, and how would you fit in with the other regulars?
Fit in with the other regular, what was that, sorry?
Characters.
I think it would be cool. I know it's a bit of an unconventional answer, but to be on The Simpsons.
That'd be quality.
That'd be amazing. I know celebrities actually go into The Simpsons, but yeah, that'd be amazing to even see how that would work, how it'd look animated, obviously. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be pretty sick. For me, probably one of my favorite TV shows has to be Big Bang Theory. I'd love to go on there. Obviously, Kaylee Cuoco, fit as fuck. Yeah, Ellie won't mind me saying that, but she won't listen anyway, so it's fine. And then they're always eating on that show, but it's always takeout. So I'd love to, just see and taste the food that they're always getting. But yeah, I think for me, Big Bang Theory, because it's just from start to finish, I thought it was exceptional. I just loved the show. The second question in from Steve. What is an appropriate name for a pet rhino?
I normally say like the same letter, so like Ryan.
Ryan the
Ryan
Rhino.
Rhino.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe Bruce. They're a bit like
I
Bruty.
was just about to say that. I was literally about to say a rhino feels like a Bruce.
Well, Bruce moping around with his horn.
Exactly. Poor Bruce. No, yeah. I think, oh, there you go. I think seeing as we both thought the same, let's go Bruce. If we're ever going to name a rhino, he's got to be called Bruce.
Cool.
All right. Well, on that amusing note, I think that's one hell of a way to end a football podcast, talking about Bruce the Rhino. But so given it's the international break, hopefully people enjoy themselves a little bit more, relax a little bit more. If you do want to watch the international football, then it's obviously there for you. But if not, we will see you on the ChampMan stream tomorrow night. Obviously, we're recording on Tuesday. And it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys.